Muted. Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news. It's all going off this Saturday night. I want to talk about Amorim and his master plan tomorrow and the tactics, and it's Saturday Night Live. But Rasmus Højlund has scored a very good goal for Napoli in the first few minutes of his debut. And the Brighton manager has basically confirmed that Baleba wants to come to Manchester United, or wanted to come to Manchester United, and that's why he's unsettled and not being picked for Brighton and being subbed for Brighton, because basically he's just not happy that he didn't get that move. So we'll talk about that. Also, I want to talk about how, when you look at the league table, Man United with 11 points. Sorry, not 11 points. Man United with 4 points. You look at the top of the table and you can already see that we are basically, well, depending on what Chelsea do, we're 5 points off the top 4 already. We're 4 points off the top 5 already. We've got to go winning games tomorrow. Like, remember I said after 10 games, we want to be in touching distance of 5th. We don't win tomorrow and Chelsea win tonight. You know, we're already 5 points off 5th after 4 games. So we've got to start, we've got to look at that. We've got to be going with a master plan tomorrow to attack and get a result, certainly, because Chelsea next week, snooze, and you could well lose. It's not April Fool's. Rasmus has scored for Napoli. They're 2-0 up after 15 minutes. Apparently it was a good goal. I've not seen it yet. But you know what? We'll talk about Rasmus in a moment. I want to talk about Baleba first. So effectively, this is what he's not had a very good start to the season. Now, I will say that one of the big things I will say here is that you're going to get people going, I don't want him. He's rubbish. He's been rubbish this season. I want Baleba because he was brilliant last season. I want Baleba because he's a brilliant player. I want Baleba because Amorim wants Baleba. But he's had a terrible start to the season because he's unsettled and he's rattled. And this is what Højlund, the manager of Brighton, said. I think it's normal for a young player when the media creates the noise around him. It's not easy for them to handle it. Therefore, we need to give him time and support so he comes back to his best performance. He's a young player, and I think that's something we have to accept. The young players don't always have the face we want to see. I think everyone gets affected, especially when you are that young and you hear these kind of things, no matter if they are wrong or right, but it's noise we just don't need. And I think it goes a long way to explain that, rightly or wrongly, United definitely rattled him, and understandably as well. I mean, we spent 2 weeks, personal terms, with him, and I don't know whether he'll hold that against us or not, but, there might be I don't know. I don't know how it works. I think it's really interesting because he's had an awful start to the season for Brighton. He didn't even start the game today. He's been subbed off a couple of times after an hour. His head's not there. It's very, very clear. I saw him a few times last season. You wouldn't not be picking him. This season, they don't want to pick him. So there's clearly something going on. But it'd be interesting to be in his head and understand what his issue is. Obviously, he wanted to play for Manchester United, but do you blame Brighton for that, or do you blame Man United for that? I mean, we were looking to buy him for £55 million. Caicedo went for double that. So I don't blame Brighton, Brighton wanted a fair price for him and we weren't willing to give it. So even if he'd gone on strike, they were not going to sell him for £55 million. So I think it's... I don't think it's necessarily a good thing for us. I just think it's, in some ways, frustrating because he clearly has been affected by our approach. It's affected his start to the season for Brighton. He clearly wanted to come to United, but we didn't go, we needed to go armed, and we went with a load of bloody paintball bullets, didn't we? And, we've just been laughed at Brighton, really. So, Dean Turner says Brighton didn't want a fair price. I don't think 55 million is a fair price, mate. They literally sold Caicedo for 100 million. I do not think they were ever going to sell him for 55 million, and we were stupid to think that. He'd be stupid to think that. Does it actually help us? No, but it just shows that he was willing to come. And I think it's, obviously there's not a lot we can do. We go with what we've got. But I think right now, 55 million looks like value. I think in the summer, I'd have said that would have been an absolute steal. So, but things change based on performance, don't they? I think what's interesting is, and what I was going to add to the story was, if he plays badly between now and January, could you go back and get him for £55 million. I'm not saying he's going to do it deliberately. I pose the question to you. If this form continues till Christmas and he doesn't play particularly well and he's not starting games and Man United go, hey, we'll take him for 55 million quid, do Brighton take the money? Would you do the deal based on the fact that he's not played well for 4 months? So maybe that could be something that pans out. But ultimately, it's one of those, isn't it? Now, the second bit of news before I get into what I was going to talk about is that Rasmus has scored a goal in 15 minutes for Napoli. They're currently 2-0 up in their game. I forget who they're playing. I feel like it's Calgary for some reason, but I might be wrong about that one. Let me have a quick look. They might be 3-0 up now. Where are they? Where are you? Let's be having you. Yeah, Fiorentina. They're 2-0 up against Fiorentina. So De Gea is in goal for them. So Rasmus scoring against a former player there. He's got an 8.2 player rating at the moment. He's the best player on the pitch. So De Bruyne has scored and he has scored. It's took him 15 minutes to score. What do you think about that? What do I think about it? I'm pleased for him, actually. That's what I think about it. I think we have to move on. And I'm pleased for him. I think that's really, important to say. And, as I said when he left, you never know. He's only 22. Go and score a load of goals in Serie A. And at 24, you might find yourself getting another chance in the Premier League. So, look, you got to move on at the end of the day. I personally think it's a good thing when players leave and do well. I want Rashford to do well. I want Rasmus to do well because he's actually on loan with an obligation to buy. I'd be more comfortable. The only thing I'll say is that I would have been more comfortable if we kept him because I do feel that more options, the better. But in many ways, I think a lot of United fans, many of you included, had made your mind up. So he's actually better off playing for a team that could win Serie A, and he'll be playing against Man City on Thursday. I think he's in a better place rather than sitting on Manchester United's bench. So I see it as good news. A few people have been going, can't believe it, another player leaving United doing well. You know what? When it comes to that, I don't think we should be shocked. Environments are really key, aren't they? You go and play in a team that's, playing well, confident. It's better for a 22-year-old striker. You go into a team where the pressure's high and there is no rhythm, it's worse. You stick him up front for Man City, he's going to play better, isn't he? So I think we've seen it with Scott McTominay as well. You go into a team where they put you in your position and play to your strengths, it works out. So Lorenzo says, Napoli have figured out the United formula. Well, I have said that. I don't want Amrim to go anywhere, but I was asked this a couple of weeks ago. If you absolutely had to get a new manager in, who would you go for? And I said Conte. I said Conte at the time, and people were like, he's not a Man United manager, but I don't know. He seems to be very good at picking up Man United players and getting them to perform. Now, different job doing it at Old Trafford, but I'm pleased. If Rashford scores, I'm pleased. I think this is good for us. It's not like Garnacho sat on the bench for Chelsea who went for £40 million. That's just a bloody steal, really. Rashford and Rasmus are on loan, so I want to get those obligation to buys. I want that to happen. And why shouldn't they go and have careers elsewhere? So, good news. Hopefully we'll get another one while we're live. Let's have a look at this league table. I want to talk about this. Actually, let me just read a couple of super chats that have come in. What are Man United players' responsibilities to win? Well, they've always got a responsibility to win because they get paid bloody good money to play for this football club. Hyen says, how can you say it was a fair price? We overpaid for players for years, and finally, when we stopped doing that, we're apparently the problem. Mate, well done for having an opinion, but I'm not going to agree with you. You're making a global point that is not regional. Like, you're basically saying we've been overpaying for years, so why should we overpay? It's not a fair price. But that doesn't apply to everything, mate. Mbeumo for 65 million. We overpaid. Should we have not done that? You're damn right we bloody should. He's not a 65 million pound player. We overpaid. Good. We needed a player like that. There's no way Cunha's a 62 million pound player. It's a release clause. We paid it. Bloody good. So, you know, fair price bollocks. Don't give a shit. We paid what we needed to pay to get Mbeumo. Damn right. If we wanted Baleba, we should have added another 20 on and seen if Brighton would have gone for it. I don't think they would have done. But 55 million? You're having a fucking laugh. 55 million? You're never going to get him for that. He'd just come off a really good season. What you're doing is you're looking at the first 4 games and he's been shit and going 55 million's a fair price. You're not bloody Harry Potter. You can't look into the future. Before a ball had been kicked this season, he was not a 55 million pound player. He definitely is at the moment, but he wasn't. Any concerns of depth as injuries mount? New York City area, says Carl. I'll tell you what, I like that. That's my kind of super chat, Carl. A good question, and then tell us where you're from. Any concerns on depth as injuries mount? I like what you've done with the name Mason Mount. No, at the moment, I think that, you know, Cunha is a massive loss. Mount's been playing well, but Bruno can play 10. Ahmad can play 10. And Burmo's at 10. Xerxes at 10. We've got 4 people who can do it. Mainu can do it at a push. So where the injuries are at the moment, we're okay. Delo, I'd rather play Mazraoui or Ahmad anyway. I'd certainly rather play Dorgu or Leon than Delo. I mean, let's not forget, I don't want players to be injured, but where was Delo playing before the injury? Left fucking wing back. I mean, I actually do think if Delo wasn't injured, there's a chance he would have been playing at left wing back yesterday. So I don't think we're going to sit here and say that we missed Delo either. So I think at the moment we're okay, but obviously you don't want many more. Greetings from Morocco. How is our boy Mazraoui? Well, we haven't really had him this season, mate, but I'm very glad that he's back tomorrow. Brandon says, if I had to take a new manager and I don't want to, I backhammer him, then I would go Oliver Glasner. Thank you very much, Brandon, for that. So let's get into what I was going to be talking about before these 2 breaking stories about Baleba and obviously Rasmus scoring a goal. Manchester United have got 4 points at the moment. We're not in the top half. Obviously, most people have played 4 games. We've only played 3. We go to Man City tomorrow. Spurs, 3-0 win against West Ham. They, I don't think, are going to get top 4. So 5th place, we've got to go for 5th place. I mean, we've got to be top 6. And we've certainly got to try and get 5th. You look at Newcastle with a striker, Voltemeda, there they are into 9th with 5 points. You look at bloody Bournemouth, 3 wins from 4, 9 points. I'm looking at that league table. I'm looking at where we are with 4 points. We get turned over tomorrow and then Chelsea get something out of us. I'm not joking. Lose to Man City, draw to Chelsea, 5 points from 5 games. I think we'll find ourselves 7, maybe 8 points off 5th place. That can't happen. That can't happen. And I sense from Amorim that he doesn't feel that we're going there tomorrow as underdogs, even though we probably are slightly. I think he feels we can go and get a result. I wouldn't say we've got to go and win, but I think we've got to get a result because we can't be taking confidence hits. The game we lost this season to Arsenal, we actually came out with a lot of credit. We can't be taking confidence hits. We can't be playing catch-up this early in the season. We've had a very difficult start to the season, but I think tomorrow I'm expecting from Amorim a bit of an attacking plan. I'm not saying all-out attack. That would be stupid. But I am expecting us to go front foot at times and, you know, try and put the pressure on Man City to a certain extent because they are under pressure. They're going to get beat by Arsenal next week. Whether they beat us or not, they're going to be having at least 3 losses from their first 5, 2 from their first 3, and I think Arsenal will beat them at the Emirates next week. So we are going to be facing a Man City side that's desperate for a result, and I think desperation and attacking can be exploited by a team that's focused and, you know, willing to commit players. And I think that's what we've got to do. I think if we sit back tomorrow and look to counter, it might be problematic. I mean, we saw in the lunchtime game, Ange against Arteta sitting back and trying to counter. Ridiculous. No shots after 45 minutes at all. I think we've got to be not all out attack, but we've got to go toe-to-toe I think there's a vulnerability there. I trust the likes of De Ligt and Yoro to deal with Haaland. And it then just becomes about who else can make chances in this game. So I look at that league table and I just don't think we can start with the mentality that our players have had over recent years. We cannot be in the bottom half of the table playing catch up because it starts to get in their heads. It really does. Sanchez says, and also as well, I want to add this in. This is really important. We play Chelsea next week on Saturday, as I'm sure many of you are aware. Saturday at 5:30. Yeah? Guess what Chelsea are doing on Wednesday? They're playing Bayern Munich in Germany. Like, this week is so important. 2 cup finals, a whole week of preparation. We go to Man City, we get something. We play Chelsea at Old Trafford and we absolutely get something. We beat them because they have played in Munich on Wednesday night, which will be a tough game. And then they've got to come to Old Trafford only, 3 days later? And we've had all week. I tell you what, it's one of my favourite songs. It's time to pump it up. It's 100% time to pump it up. We've got to be going into these games now with intensity. And as I said, we've got to scrutinise every minute of every game because there is no European football. Every minute of every game has to be scrutinised. If I'm sat there on Monday morning talking about United's performance against Man City, I will say, remember that 15-minute period before half-time where we were slack. We lost composure. Why? Every minute of every game, switched on, composure. This is what we need to do, especially in the first 20 minutes. Got really good opportunities here to really do something special. And I'm not having it. The reason I've got the league table there, Arsenal, Champions League football. Tottenham, Champions League football. Liverpool, Champions League football. Chelsea, Champions League football. Newcastle, Champions League football. These teams have got at least another 14 games than us this season. We've got to be taking advantage of that. We have to. Jocelyn is back on the Baleba trail, says, we made a 55 million bid and they told us we are not selling after letting us speak to and agree with the player. You're unbelievable. Can you please explain to me what you're talking about? Because I don't appreciate being called unbelievable unless it's in a positive way. I don't know what's unbelievable about what you're saying. We spoke to a player for 2 weeks and then offered half his value. Ain't me. I wasn't doing it, mate. What you're doing is you suddenly think £55 million for Baleba is a fair price because he's been shit this season. What you're not doing is putting your head back into the end of July when he was easily an 80 to 90 million pound player and every fucking one of you was saying we should offer 80 million plus installments and see what they do. And now you're going 55 million was a fair price. Absolute hypocrites. Not one of you said 55 million was a fair price until he started playing shit. I know because I had 30,000 live people talking about it saying, yeah, we should try and tempt them. We should go 80 million, which is a little bit low, but let's put like 20 or 30 million of achievable installments in and see what they do. And you're now going 55 million, 55 million. Talking out your arse. Hitton says, even after 2 of your preferred 10s out and a perfect alternative in Bruno, Amorim doesn't give Kobe a shot. It'll be held against him by many of us. Okay, I need to read this one properly. Even after having 2 of your preferred 10s out and a perfect alternative in Bruno, if Amorim doesn't give Kobe a shot, it'll be held against him by many of us. Well, I'm sure Amorim really gives a shit about that, mate. I mean, I'm sure he's not sleeping tonight because Hitton is going to hold it against him if he doesn't pick Mainu. Are you Man United FC or are you Player FC? Because last time I checked, Mainu didn't play that well. So what are you doing? So basically you're saying you're going to be Amorim out if your favourite player doesn't get picked. How's about he gets picked because he's been good in training, and if he doesn't get picked, when he does get picked, he proves he's good enough? Why would you hold it against him if he doesn't pick Mainu? Like, Mainu's got to work for it. I want Mainu in the team, but he's got to bloody work for it, mate. There's no part of me saying Mainu's got to play tomorrow. If he does play tomorrow, he must have done well in training. If he doesn't play tomorrow, and I don't think he will, I'm not going to sit here going, oh, Amorim out. Amrima! Where? Amrima! Amrima! Where's Mainu? Amrima! Like, I don't think Mainu will start tomorrow. I think he'll go Casemiro, Bruno, Mbeumo, Ahmad, Šeško. I think that'll be the 5. And I think Mazraoui will be right wing back and Dorgu will be left wing back. That's what I think he'll do. I'd like to see him play Bruno with Mbeumo at 10 and put Mainu next to Casemiro, but I don't think he will. And I don't think we should be sat there demanding it based on an imagination that we don't know the answer to. Like, have a bit of fucking patience. Maybe Casemiro's been really good in training. I doubt it, but you know, you never know. If Spurs, Sanchez, some good questions coming in tonight. Sanchez says, if Spurs finish top 6 and United above 10th, does Ruben stay next season? Only reason for comparisons with Spurs is because we had similar seasons. Sanchez, you know what? You know the difference between Man United and Spurs? And I saw it today when the team news came out. Palhinha and Bergvall as a midfield 2. We've got Casemiro and Bruno. That's why Spurs could finish in the top 6. Because they're sorted in the midfield. Like, they've actually got a good midfield. They've also got people like Sarr and Bentancur. I mean, Sarr, Bentancur, Bergvall and Palhinha are better than all our midfielders. Mainu potentially and Agatu potentially could be better than them. But where we are at the moment, they've got 4 better midfielders. So if you want to know why Spurs might finish above Man United, their midfield is better. The difference is crazy, as Blankmont says. Yeah, I mean, Palhinha is just a very intelligent loan signing. Bergvall is probably one of the best up-and-coming midfielders in the Premier League. So that's what it's all about. I don't think they've got a better attack than us, although I looked at it today and I was like, bloody hell. Kudos, Xavi Simons, Kulusevski to come back. They have got some good options. They've got some good defense. I mean, Spurs have got a good squad. Basically, Ange just wasn't a very good coach. I think with Thomas Frank, 3 wins from 4 is a good start to the season. And they were moaning about losing to Bournemouth at home, but they've had a good start to the season, definitely. And my hope with Spurs is that Champions League football will derail them a little bit. But they've got a better coach and they've got a very good squad. I think that's what I would say about them. Thank you, Sanchez. Done that one. Joseline's gifted a membership. Thank you, Joseline. Sean O'Rourke says, disappointed Le Mans isn't starting tomorrow, but also understand it's against City. Need Šeško to start, though. Cheers from Boston. I don't know what the team's going to be tomorrow, but I do suspect that we're probably going to see some moaning because it's impossible. I actually don't think Amrim can... I don't think Amrim can pick a team that's not going to frustrate somebody. So, look, as I said this morning, I'd love to have seen Le Mans starting the game. I really, really would. But now that I know Bienda's starting, I won't know when the team comes out tomorrow because it is what it is. But of course I want to see Baleba not starting. Not Baleba, Bienda. I've been watching a lot of Fulham over the last year, and in hindsight, we should have bought Sander Berg. Solid 7 out of 10 every game, rarely makes mistakes, says Ben. 1 Inch Wonder says, it all went downhill after we sold Rojo. And Driz says, I'm gutted we lost Rasmus. I think he's good. Well, I mean, I'm not here to get into that conversation, really, because what's done is done, and you've got to move on, really. Interesting to see Chelsea using Hato straight away. I think he's a really good signing as well. Another young player coming through. I think they got him from Ajax, didn't they? But yeah, no, look, I didn't want Rasmus to go. He didn't want to go. Man United needed the money. And we are where we are. Wish him all the best and move on. Thank you, Driz. Spurs better equipped and better Premier League coach, says JB. Rasmus scoring, make it easier for future Napoli deals, says DV. Sully says, Mark won't agree that we've got a crap coach. Facts. I don't know what you based it on, mate. I mean, I don't know what you're basing it on. They've just given him £200 million. I don't think the club think he's a crap coach. I don't think the players think he's a crap coach. With all due respect, Sully, I'd rather listen to Mazraoui and what he's got to say about our coach than you. And he was very glowing about him and very positive about him. So I don't believe he's a crap coach at all. I think he's a very good coach at a club that's been on its arse for 10 years that's going to need to probably get worse before it gets better. I just don't think we've got people who've got the patience for that. Mojo says, City are at their weakest right now. If compared to their previous years, we're slightly better than last season and with a better understanding of our system. We need to take advantage of this and I believe we can win. I hope sincerely that tomorrow we don't get caught out by a stupid early goal, a deflection, a bad refereeing decision, a red card or something stupid like that. These things can change games, and I've certainly seen that happen before at the Etihad, Chris Smalling, and it can change a game, especially in a derby. We've got to be competitive, but we've got to be disciplined too. I believe we'll get something out of the game. I've gone with a draw. Obviously, I'll be ecstatic with a win, but I believe we can get something out of the game. I almost want to say we have to get something out of the game. And there's part of me that doesn't want to put that pressure on it because, understandably, the Etihad is one of the games in the season where you might go, if you're going to lose a game, you're probably going to lose that one. So, but on the other hand, it's a Manchester derby. It's the sort of result that if you get it, it could be big for our season. I think that also they're a little bit loose at the moment. So I think it's a really, really big game for us. But the flip side of that coin is, look at how hard we made Burnley. Like, look at how I don't even know how Burnley scored 2 goals. And I think that's something to consider as well. We go into it with confidence and we definitely need to find a way to get a result. But how the fuck did we let Burnley back in that game twice? I don't even understand. We should have been 3-0 up at half time. We are up and we end up letting them back twice and needing a late win. And I said it after the game. If we're letting Burnley back in, we drastically need to improve because, then with all due respect to Burnley, I think Liverpool will absolutely smash them before us tomorrow. So, and why did Burnley get back in the game? I think Burnley get back in the game because the midfield's not up to it again, if I'm being completely honest. And as Jin said, same with Fulham. We get ahead and then the midfield just can't hold on to the game. So, look, I don't expect us to win comfortably tomorrow. I think it will be a challenge because even if we play well, we do have frailties. But you look at that league table, we've got 4 points. If we lose tomorrow, I think you all know what's going to happen. Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's going to be, forget the Champions League, everybody will be screaming, hammer him out. Interesting point from Luciano here. He said, the pass Rasmus received today after 14 minutes, he didn't receive in 2 seasons with our midfield. It's really sad, says Luciano. I'm just going to have a quick look here at Brighton have just gone 1-0 up against Chelsea. Brentford. Good goal as well. I'm just wondering if I would love to see the goal while I'm live. Not the Brentford goal. Here it is. Yeah, it's a good goal. In off the post as well. Yeah, and goes. Look at what he does. He runs straight to the player who passed him in, Spinazzola. It's literally a quick pass into the channel. So Spinazzola wins the ball back and then sees the Rasmus run and just plays him in. 30-yard pass, muscles his way through, plays it in off the post. You're probably right, mate. I just don't think we've got players who play that type of a pass. I tell you what, it's worth looking at that goal from Rasmus because it's just not the sort of ball we've been playing for 6 years, let alone the last 2. You just don't. If they're going to start playing those sort of passes into him, then he will score goals. But I'd take it beyond Rasmus. It could become a problem for Šeško. It was certainly a problem for Cavani. It was a problem for Rashford. It was a problem for Martial. We don't play those types of passes. So, and what that type of pass is completely the opposite of what we do. We know United get the ball, take a touch, have a look, play a pass. What happens there is get the ball, and you know what? we might not understand this from playing five-a-side or amateur football or school football or whatever you play. But at the highest level, you will know that your striker is going to make that run. Paul Scholes talks about it really well. He says, when I was playing, I knew where Giggsy was going to go. I knew where Bex was. I knew where Cole and York were without looking. Now, Paul Scholes is probably a bad example because they called him Sat-Nav and he knew his way everywhere. But at the highest level, you know where Højlund wants the ball. You know where Salah wants the ball. You know all these things. And what's criminal about United is we are playing at the highest level. And over the last few years, we've got players who just don't play it where it needs to go quickly. They take a touch. They have a shot. They run at people. And that goal for Napoli is just so simplistic. But you see it all the time with loads of other Premier League clubs. Get the ball and play it into areas quickly where defenders are on the turn. Feed the striker. We can't feed Rasmus anymore. We can't feed Ronaldo anymore. We can't feed Cavani anymore. But we can feed Sesko. And I think that's something that we need to see tomorrow and the game after and the game after. I look at the cross today for the Valdemeda goal for Newcastle. Jacob Murphy's cross is brilliant. The Wolves defender is not in a bad position. It's a good cross. And he's in a good position, but he can't get there. And there's Valdemeda with a free header to score his opening goal. So I think this is something we need to look at. Quick crosses for a striker, they thrive on them. And that's what we've got Šeško for. So, you know, I think we will be in a better position. I think Mbeumo and Cunha proved that last year. They are creatives. And I think we've got rid of the selfish players now. But we have to feed the striker. It's not just, I mean, look, and at the end of the day, the Italian league is not the Premier League. You know, I think the Bundesliga is closer to the Premier League. The Italian league is definitely slower. So, you know, you always have to take that into account. I said that last year with McTominay. But it doesn't change the fact that we do need to feed our striker better. Rita Dunn says, Hayden Hackney has got the best through balls ever and he tackles like Robbo. He stayed at Middlesbrough, didn't he? Because they're doing really well at the moment. You never know. You never know. Off topic, but can we stop pretending Pep is a good manager? I don't know what... Tom. This is very dangerous to be saying this the night before the game. I will teach you a few things. It is very dangerous to be starting to talk about Pep being a bad coach the night before we're going to play him. Because if we get a Pep masterclass tomorrow and we get done 6-0, I mean, imagine that tomorrow. I ain't hiding behind a fucking chair again. Anyway, Tom says, off topic. Thanks for your super chat, by the way, Tom. Very generous. £10. Thank you. He says, off topic, can we stop pretending Pep is a good manager? He's never managed a team that isn't first or second best in the world until now, and it's falling apart, and people say he's better than Sir Alex. I mean, I'd love to be saying that tomorrow, Tom. And I've got a video ready to go on That's Football. It's basically called Sack Pep. Sack Pep. So, you know, but we need to get the result tomorrow. We don't want to be jinxing it, as a lot of people in the chat are saying. Garnacho will be like Gandalf to the Balrog. He won't be a team player for Chelsea. Says Spin. Thanks for the from Ashby Delazouche. Spin. Some of the comments tonight are brilliant. Absolute Saturday night banter. That is so niche. That is so niche. It's funny. So, Garnacho will be like Gandalf to the Balrog. So, yeah. So, Garnacho will be the Balrog because basically Gandalf stands on Lord of the Rings in front of on the bridge, stopping the Balrog, going, "You shall not pass!" And basically, yeah, Garnacho shall not pass. He doesn't pass. I'm not looking for... I mean, look, we've got Chelsea next week. He's on the bench for Chelsea tonight. They're losing 1-0 to Brentford. I mean, now that it's happened with Garnacho, I'm not comfortable with it at all. You know, it's okay when it's hypothetical. It's okay when he hasn't played a game. But you know, now he starts playing games. and he's motivated. Suddenly he's motivated because he wants to. I mean, Garnacho is an immature brat. I think we can all agree with that. And he's immature, and all his motivation is going to be is to prove Amorim wrong. And that type of motivation can be quite motivating. So yeah, he's going to come on, and you know, he might score a goal. You know, he might be the match winner, and then he'll be. I've got to say this as well. I've been saying this for 2 months. He's going to kiss that badge first opportunity he can. 100% he is kissing that badge. And Chelsea fans, you can all start getting your tissues out and knocking one out. But I'm telling you now, before he's even done it, he can't wait to kiss that badge. Absolutely is going to kiss it the first chance he gets. But obviously he's going to be at Old Trafford next week. And that's a concern. But what can you do? He's not on loan. He's a Chelsea player now. And, you know, somebody might say it might be a good idea for Maresca to start him next week because there might be a United player out that fancies going in on him. I don't want us getting a red card. I don't know whether we've got a player that would actually clatter him, you know. They'd probably shake his fucking hand. I mean, let's be real. Most Man United fans would clatter him. Most of our players probably sent him a DM saying, love you, bro, enjoy it, you know. I don't genuinely think there's a United player that think he's a prick. I think most of them are just, you know, it's probably a mate. Certainly gets on well with Bruno. So I think he does. Martinez won't clatter him. He's injured. And he's probably his mate as well. So yeah, I think those days are gone. I don't think we're going to see a United player clatter him. Although I did love what Ashley Young... Was it Ashley Young who put Di Maria into the advertising board? That was probably the last time we'll ever see anything like that. Agate might do it. It'd be a bloody... I'll tell you what, give him a 10-year contract. I'm glad somebody mentioned this. Mario Franco says, Emi Martinez was amazing today. Who would have thought? Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it, with Emi Martinez, really. He was brilliant today. I haven't watched it, but I saw the highlights of some of the saves. And I was doing 3 p.m. watch along on That's Football. And a lot of people were watching the Villa game, and they said he was absolutely brilliant. But, you know, that was what we were arguing about on Sunday. The Sunday before the Monday of the last day of the international break. I thought we were going to sign Martinez. And I wanted Martinez because I was like, if you buy Martinez, he starts against Man City. If you buy Le Mans, I don't think he does. Do we need somebody now, or do we need somebody next year? We need somebody now. So Martinez would have been in goal tomorrow if we'd bought him. Apparently Le Mans isn't. So that's what I was on about. I want Le Mans to do well. The situation is the situation. We can't change it. It's like Baleba. Baleba wanted to come to Manchester United, and ultimately he hasn't. But, you know, you can't change it. I wanted Le Mans. I wanted a number one goalkeeper. And maybe we will have a new number one goalkeeper. Maybe he'll be a backup and we'll stick with Binder. I don't know. But if we'd bought Martinez, he would be the number one goalkeeper. So that's why on that Sunday, as a little bit of a history lesson, that's why I and many others were going get Martinez, because he would 100% be starting tomorrow. Whereas it doesn't look like Le Mans is. So the choice is, would I want Binder or would I want Martinez? And of course I'd want Martinez, but it's over. It is what it is. And hopefully Binder will have a good game tomorrow. Casemiro can do a job on Garnacho, says James. The trouble is, if Casemiro tried to tackle Garnacho, he'd probably miss. He'd probably end up tackling a Brentford player next week. The week after. Thank you very much for that. Do you like 8 p.m. football, says Bailey? I have got the Chelsea game on just because we're live at the moment, but I won't be watching the second half. I hate 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. For me, that's 8 o'clock United Stand show, quick bath at 9, and then a film on. I don't like 8 o'clock football on a Saturday night. There's just certain times I just don't agree that football should be played. But if Man United are playing, obviously I would watch it. Thank you very much for that. That was from Bailey. Who to blame says, I won $100 on the Newcastle, Crystal Palace and Spurs game. Could get another if Chelsea tie, Man United tie and Liverpool win. Wish me luck. Sounds like a good aggregator, mate, to be fair. I mean, Chelsea could easily get back into this. I think Man United will draw and I think Liverpool will win. Thank you very much for that. Højlund would boot him if he was still here, says John. I never ever got to the bottom of what Rasmus thought of Garnacho, to be honest. I mean, I will never speak out about conversations I have with players, but I never really got to the bottom of that. I always felt that they got on, but I don't know. What I do know is that players in clubs, even if they hug and celebrate, don't necessarily get on. I genuinely think if you're a striker in a team and you've got players behind you that don't pass and want to shoot all the time, it becomes quite frustrating, which is why we were saying that we were sort of crying out for an experienced striker to give some of these younger players a bollocking. But, you know, hopefully it's going to change now anyway. I mean, I think it would have been a different... I think it would have been a different story this season or last season if we had Cunha and Mbeumo anyway. Anyway, how are you feeling ahead of tomorrow? Everybody, are you feeling confident? I don't think I've been this relaxed going into a Manchester derby for a long time. That doesn't mean we won't get beat, by the way. I just feel like every time we go to the Etihad over the years, you go in there and playing a team that you're scared of. Whether it be De Bruyne, Foden, Rodri, Haaland, you know, I think I've always feared Man City. I don't fear them tomorrow. I still think they have to be favourites because it's at the Etihad, but I don't fear them. You know, and I think Mamouche is a good player. He's not playing. Cherki could have been a problem because he doesn't like us. He's not playing. Reinders, I don't feel like he's that good. Good, but not that good. Rodri, obviously, is a good player, but, you know, he's a holding midfielder at the end of the day. Haaland, we all know you can keep him quiet. I don't even know, looking at Man City, how they will line up. How will he line up for this game? I was looking at their last game, and I don't even know how he's going to do it. I was looking at their last game earlier on. So when they played against Brighton... He went with Trafford in goal, which will be Donnarumma. He had John Stones and Kushanoff, but Stones is injured. He had Nunes at right back. I think Diaz will play. Stones will be injured. Altnouri's injured, so I don't know whether Vardiel's back yet. I don't know. I mean, he's a good player, but I don't know whether he's back. Obviously, Bernardo Silva, Rodri, Reinders, and then it was Mamouche, Haaland and Bob. Well, Mamouche can't play either. So you look at the bench and you go, Doku, Diaz, Lewis, Gonzalez, Gundogan, Akanji. They're more than capable of beating us. Absolutely capable of beating us. Obviously Foden as well. But I'm not as scared as them as I was over the years. And because of that, I think it means there's less excuse. Like, if I think about United going to Man City last year, year before that, you almost are a little bit worried that you might get battered. And, you'd happily take a draw. I look at the game tomorrow and I'm like, I think there's a real opportunity there. I don't think there's many excuses, really. Kanji's gone to Inter as well. Yeah, good point. By Design says the delusional is laughable. Well, maybe you should explain the delusional instead of being a sanctimonious twat. One player I'm really excited for is Mbeumo. I vividly remember him assisting Ahmad in the Burnley game, so I'm confident Šeško will get chances. Yes, I mean, obviously Cunha's not playing tomorrow, but the big difference between Garnacho, Rashford, Antony, etc., and Mbeumo and Cunha is that Mbeumo and Cunha are proven creatives. They will play that pass. They will play that cross. It's part of their game. Marvin AM says there's no excuses for Amrim tomorrow. Well, you know what, Marvin? You know I respect you, but you're wrong, because what if we play really, really well? The referee gives a dodgy penalty and they win 1-0. Well, there's an excuse there. So I will be fair to you and say there's no excuse not to turn up and play well. There are excuses why we might not win the game. And that's the same in anything. That's like saying there's no excuse for Real Madrid not beating Villarreal at home. You know, first minute, a dodgy refereeing decision gets somebody sent off, and then it happens again 5 minutes later and they lose 1-0. There are always excuses. There are always excuses. But where I do agree with you is that there's no excuse not to turn up and put in a good performance. And if things go out your hand, then they may create a technical excuse. But where I do agree with you is I think we've got to be going into the game. Like, I put it more on the players, Marvin, actually. I think the players will be prepped by Amorim, and we know that he can do that. But look at Grimsby. That's not tactics. That's not tactical. That's just shit players not turning up. And that's what I'm looking at tomorrow. So I wouldn't even put it on Amorim. I'd put it on the players. You turn up at Grimsby, you can't use excuses for a lack of intensity. You're 4 divisions above them. So I look at the game tomorrow and I'm like, I don't want to see players lethargic or misplacing passes, or, you know, not in the right places, not tracking runners because they're tired and they're not concentrating. We need to see players turn up from the first second. And there's no excuse for that. So I'd put it more onto the players, to be honest. Jose says, I'm excited for Le Mans. I'm just scared at the fan base's criticism, given what we did, what we wanted. Let's always remember at the end of each game, the owner's incompetence, win, draw or lose. Well, it's very hard to do that, Jose, but you're right. Is there a result tomorrow that we could get Pep the sack? I don't want to think about sacking Pep. I don't want to think about that because that's irrelevant. But I'll give you a scenario. If Manchester United could win or draw tomorrow, then Manchester City would have 4 points from the first 12. They then go to the Emirates next week and lose, and they would have 4 points from 15. I just want to say, I can talk for half an hour on why I don't rate Pep at all, but I just don't have a spare 10 grand, says Tom McBride. Thank you, Tom. Evening, Mark. Just got back from hospital after breaking both wrists. What were you doing? Two-handed. So I had to have surgery. United need to take advantage of City weaknesses. Yeah, Christian, we're all thinking, have you broken 2 wrists? What have you been doing? Like, have you fell off something? How do you break 2 wrists? I'm waiting for something that might not come here. Christian, anyway, most important thing is, how are you going to feed yourself? How are you going to have a drink? I've just got visions of you like that. Rest up, mate. Hope you're doing well. Thank you very much for that. Rub says we're going to get cooked by Brentford. We have got Brentford, the game after Chelsea as well, who are actually doing a lot better than I thought they would this season. I had them down to get relegated. But I did say about Brentford, to be fair, like, without Thomas Frank, without Mbeumo, without Fleckin, without Norgard, without Wizza, you'd expect Brentford to drop off. But they might not. They might not. And, you know, maybe they won't. How did you text? Says Rosie. He might be doing it verbally. Lots of people saying, how did he type? Rasmus is on fire for Napoli already. Well, I don't know whether he's on fire. I mean, he has scored a goal, but I don't know whether he's on fire. He's got a half-time rating of 8.1, which makes him the best player on the pitch at the moment. De Bruyne is 8, and Guisa 7.5, Spinazzola 7.6. Napoli bought that goal. I tell you what, do you think Conte has hacked? I mean, look, we're a shit football club, so it wouldn't be that hard. Do you think Conte has hacked Manchester United? Because he's got Scott McTominay, he's got Rasmus Højlund, he's got a goalkeeper we were looking at, Milinkovic-Savic. He brought him in from Torino. He did want Garnacho. It's like there's a lot of links to United there. Maybe he just wants the Man United job. Anyway, best of luck. Best of luck. I mean, fair play. And De Bruyne as well. You're going to the Italian champions, who may well be the Italian champions again, and you're going to play in the Champions League. You know, interesting game. Remember, Napoli have got Man City on Thursday as well. De Bruyne against his old club. Rasmus as well. I'm doing a watch-along for that on Thursday. It could be a good game. Solsky says, there was a bloke at my school who broke both his arms and he looked like C-3PO. My best mate at school, the day before GCSE started, right, our local park had like a community centre, you know, where people used to do fetes and you could hire it out for a disco. And on the side of it, it had like this flat roof and it was a long wall. And we all, you'd go up there, and you know, if your mates were away or something like that, you'd go up there on an afternoon, and it was a big, massive, long, it was about as wide as 2 goals. So you'd just go up there and kick your ball against it, control, you could draw a goal on there as well. It was great. But sometimes you'd overhit it and it'd go on the flat roof. So he went on the flat roof to get the ball, kicked the ball off, and as he kicked it off, he fell and landed on his right wrist. Broke his wrist the night before GCSE started. Goes to hospital, gets broken wrist. No, they didn't give him a broken wrist. He has a broken wrist. Gets it put into plaster. Goes into school and says, I write with my right hand. I can't write because I've got a broken wrist. You know what they did? They said, because you're using your left hand, you can have an extra half an hour after every exam. I mean, I think in 2025 they'd let somebody else type for you or something like that. But an extra half an hour to write with your left hand. Like, some of these exams were like 3 hours, English, written exam. You can give me an extra half a week. I ain't writing. You know, I can't write an essay in my right hand with my left hand in half an hour. This is God's honest truth. He got an extra half an hour at the end of the exam. I couldn't even fucking write with my left hand. I mean, I've got it here, right? Okay, give me some paper. I'm good at writing with my right hand. So I'm going to write, I don't know. I am the best. Right. That is no word of a lie. I am the best. And that you know, that's trying to write small. I mean, oh, give me extra half an hour. I'll be sorted, yeah. Imagine trying to write fast as well. Did he pass his exam? No, he fucking didn't. He did terrible. He did really, really bad. Yeah. I can't write with my left hand. Absolutely not. Show us your normal writing. Right, watch this. This is good fun. I haven't got the best handwriting anyway, but who has these days? But it's better than that. I mean, that's my legitimate attempt at. Let me see if we can do it a bit smaller. I'll try and do it smaller this time. Oh, That'll be terrible. Oh my God, it's even worse. Oh, for fuck's sake, that's even worse. Look at that, trying to do it small. Bottom line. Looks like more I am the twat than I am the best. I think that's shocking. I think that's absolutely shocking. That's not I am he best. That's a T into a H, you cheeky get. Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, going back to somebody breaking both their arms. Who would wipe your arse for you as well? Imagine you break both your arms like that. Well, that I wouldn't even be worried about my arse. There'd be other things I'd want them to do as well. But they'd have to pass a test. Well, obviously it would be the wife. Definitely. My handwriting's always been shit. I don't want to be sexist, but all the girls in my class at school had amazing handwriting and all the boys had shit writing. In fact, if you were a lad who had good writing, it was probably a sign that you're intelligent, that you're a geek. When will you learn that water is better for wiping your ass, says Amatish? We don't have bidets in the UK anymore. They got rid of them. They're banned. My 5-year-old sister writes better than you, says Defi. Yeah, but she's not a multimillionaire, is she? Unlucky. What are you going to do with your handwriting? Sit down. Mark, you always preach having an opinion. What's happening in the USA looks like the death of one's own opinion. How can we come together, says Jacob. Thank you very much. Christian fell backwards off a well. Sorry, don't fall backwards off a well. He fell backwards off a wall cutting a hedge. How did you break your wrist backwards? Surely, how do you get out? What did you do with your wrists to make them hit the ground? Surely that's how you break your neck. I don't know. I don't know about that. I have girl handwriting and had to change the rate, so no one said how girly it was, says Who to Play. Who bloody uses handwriting anymore? I actually do. I write notes for myself all the time. I've got bits of paper all over the place, look. I've got loads of bits of paper all over the place. That's how I work, and I always feel I'm old-fashioned. Loads of notes. My desk is full of notes. There's more over here. All over the place. But I don't think a lot of people do handwriting anymore, do they? DV said, did you have cursive and calligraphy classes in school? I hated cursive. You know, the cursive's the one where I hated it. I'd rather print. I'm very good at typing. Very fast. Two-handed as well. Self-taught. Samuel says, I just wanted to say the live preview was one of my favourite shows of the year. Will we get more? Yeah, getting great feedback about the live preview, which is strange to me because I don't think we did anything different. But yeah, we will do live previews because there's no European football. So I think the only reason we stopped doing live previews was because when there's so many games, you're trying to fit things in, 2 press conferences a week, 2 previews a week, etc., etc. So we will do a live preview every Thursday, I think, from now on, because I really enjoyed it as well. So yeah, that was great. Mark, you always preach having a... I just want to go back to the multi-millionaire thing. That was just that was just banter to sit a 5-year-old down. It wasn't actually true. Just if you remove the word multi, it's probably closer to the truth, but the multi-millionaire thing was, you know, a little bit over the top by about whatever multi is. We're Manchester United in name only, says Constantine. I mean, I drive a fucking Ateca, so, you know. Constantine, thank you very much. Am I a geek if I have good handwriting? I don't know. My handwriting's terrible. Always has been. all of my kids have surpassed me at the age of 6 with their handwriting. So I don't know why I've got bad handwriting, but I've always had that. Play Sheshko Rubens as prehistoric nerd. I hope so. Hope so. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, though. As I said, I was asking you how you were feeling going into the game tomorrow. I'm confident that we're going to get a result, and I'm confident that we're going to deliver. Obviously, I can't account for bad officiating or a silly tackle costing us a red card. But you know what? I hope it's a good referee tomorrow, because Man City are a dirty side as well. Ben says, two-handed, self-taught. That's what she said. Okay, I'm going to get off. Donnarumma debut as well. Yeah, tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock show. I'm not on the 10 o'clock show tomorrow because Seb's got a cup game tomorrow. So I've got 2 big games tomorrow. But we have got 10 o'clock. I think it's, I can't remember what it is, but there's something going out at 10. And then obviously big watch along, countdown to kickoff, match reaction, fan forum, all that. Can't wait. Have a great evening, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. Love the Saturday night shows. And I will speak to you on the next one.